Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Piranha Motorsports. This episode, it's time to get the motor ready for In Honour. So let's build an LS. Okay, so it's time for us to start getting the ball rolling on some engine builds. Now, they're happening at the same time as each other, so you'll see them as two separate episodes, but in actual fact, they're being built side by side. So you've seen both the 5 litre and the LS motor be prepped and ready for assembly. Today, Dad's doing his magic on a balance, so just a home balance where he's getting all the pistons and rods and making sure they're all weigh the same amount, using the little Dremel and making the most of what we've got while I've got it apart. So as you can see here, all the pistons and rods for both 5 litre and LS are here and ready to rock. So we've got a good set of scales, little Dremel, some sanding drums, etc. So this is our first step of getting the engine assembled. Block's already been prepped, as you've seen, and once this is done, we can start actual assemble on both the engines. Obviously, LS1 for In Honour and the 5 litre for the 12s for 2K. Yeah, so I'll put you on time lapse while Dad does some balance work, and then we'll start getting stuck into the assembly of the engines, which will be probably the next couple of days for us, but pretty soon for you. A couple of days. We've been to the Carnage 1000, so if you haven't gone and looked at that video yet, go and check it out. It's a pretty cool video. We had a great time, and yeah. Okay, so where are we up to since you haven't seen? So we've got all of our bits and pieces to assemble the motor. Heads have been come back from the machine shop and new guides, etc. have been put in. It needs to be cleaned. And blocks all been prepped, which we've seen as well. Dad has done, like you've seen on the time lapse, Dad has done all the balancing. So all the pistons and rods weigh the same. Everything's in here to do reassembly. We are just, here's the old block. We need to get flex plate off of here. Rear main seal plate. And we need to get the dumbbell out because we've done the upgrade dumbbell on here, so we can put that into the other block. Crank is behind the dog. Just needs a quick wipe over and get everything organised, and we can start assembling an LS1. Alright, let's get this off and then we'll get a start of putting this thing together. Alright, just going through and sorting out a few little bits and pieces. We have the parts off the old block. So, a couple of the sensors, rear main seal plate, the plate which still has, check this out, that literally completely hand grenaded when it left. That bit of pistons are just literally everywhere. Crank is all cleaned. We just blew that all off, cleaned it all out, bottle cleaned all the journals and the holes and everything like that, so that's all literally ready to go on. The bearings in this block, we never touched the main bearings. We've left them the same. They look pretty much like brand new. So we left those. We do have new rod bearings. So we're going to put those on the rods. They actually still did look pretty good, but we're going to replace them anyway, those ones, but we're just going to do rod bearings. Alright, so Dad's currently cleaning up main caps. Just getting them washed off in the parts washer. And I'm about to put the crank in, so let's see how this goes. Rightio, well, as you've seen, crank is all in, main caps are down and tensioned, she spins nice and freely, was 15 pound-feet on the inner and outer, 80 degrees, plus 80 degrees on the inside bolts, plus 53 on the outside. And then the outside ones here, the locator ones, they are 18 foot-pounds. So all down nice and tight, spins quite nicely. We're going to have a stop and bite for lunch. Then after lunch we're going to have to do a quick check on our ring gap clearances, which should be still pretty good. Maybe a little tickle up there. Then we can drop our pistons and rods in. and start moving forward with camshaft, timing chain, and oil pump and pickup and sump and stuff like that. So hopefully by this afternoon we should have some heads on, and possibly a complete engine ready to drop in the car, which means perhaps tomorrow we can put it in the car. Now I'll do that on a separate episode. So we'll do a LS1 build video, and then we'll put it back in the car and get the car running video. So otherwise it'll end up being an absolute monster of video that nobody wants to watch. So, and I don't like doing sitting down for hours editing videos, and in the end people only watch a couple of minutes of it. So I will do this as a nice little video for you guys to watch as we install, rebuild our LS1 ready for INHONOUR in our professional engine building room. And yeah, so we'll come back after lunch and get that done. Okay, so we run our ring gaps at 28th hour, top and bottom?
Yeah.
Top and bottom.
Top and second.
Yeah, we'll top and second, yeah. So, it's a little bit more than what the factory recommends, but we find that with the burnout applications, they get really hot, and we find we have issues with pistons exploding, popping tops off. So we went through quite a lot of Ecotech V6s before we realised what was happening. So we run 28th hour across the gaps. So a lot of guys use less than that. Recommendations are, I'm not even sure what factory is, but yeah, so we're just double checking everything. This one's, so the top ring we've already done. That was,
that was second ring.
Oh, that was second ring, was 28th hour. Top ring's just a little bit too snug, so we're gonna get the Dremel out and give that a little tickle. So we'll go across all of these and we'll get some pistons in and keep on motoring. Alrighty, well, we are at the point of installing pistons. Cranks in and all done. Rings on the left-hand bank have all been checked. So we're up to we've just put the bearings on the rod and the cap. So here they go. A good slathering of smudge. The bearings only go in one way too, so you've got a little tang on them. They slot into a groove on the rod and the cap itself. So we've spun the block over and we're ready to slide them in. We're going to pre-oil up the bore so it's a little bit smoother. We'll guide them in through and down. We'll slip it over the top of the crank and we'll do the cap up. Nice and easy. We'll slip through the process. We'll get this left-hand side bank done. We'll slip it up, spin the block over, redo the process again, and we'll have ourselves a shore block assembled in no time.
I saved you from watching it. You'd watch it on time lapse enough. We've got all 8 rods in. Everything seems to be moving quite freely. All the rods are just tensioned, tightened up, and now we are doing them to the initial 15 foot-pounds, and then it is 60 degrees after that. So, do you want to go through all of them at that?
Yeah, might as well.
Alright.
A little bit more. Just running on.
Okay, cool. Right, they're all at their initial first torque down. Now it's 60 degrees from here. We're going to get our professional degree wheel out. Here it is. Just be careful of it. They're pretty dangerous. About there. Yep. Okay, cool. We'll go through and get all these done. Alrighty, I've put the sump back together. Obviously, this is the sump left over after the last motor, so it's been completely pulled apart. All the lines, everything's been pulled off, cleaned, and now reassembled. Dad's still there, going through the last of the ring gaps on the right hand side of the engine, so we're just about to put that side together, and then it's timing cover, cam, timing chain, oil pump, timing cover, sump. So once we got to that point, it'll be some flash ass colour, and the heads will be ready. I'm just going to give that head there a bit of a clean up. And put the 2 valve springs back on after we had the valve guides replaced, and then we are ready for put the heads on, and it's not far from being drop it in the car time, so looking good. Alrighty, let's get the lumpy stick in there, or the bump stick, gently with our brand new cam bearings, professionally installed by GM. Okay. Anybody interested? This is a used. So it came out of the last engine. It's got some knocks and a few bits and pieces on it, but it is a GM Motorsports 2 Street Racer. GM Motorsports Street Racer 2 camshaft. So it's like 620 lift, I think it was. So it's not one that has a really lumpy idle, but it is definitely quite an aggressive high revving cam, and it does really well. So we picked it up years ago from a as a kit. Someone had bought it for their car and never used it, and sold it quite cheap. So we picked up the whole kit, valve springs and everything, timing chain, the whole works. This one here is actually designed specifically for an unopened engine. So it's the maximum you can put in an engine without taking the heads and everything off. If you're not looking to take heads off and get them skimmed. So as soon as you get your head skimmed, this camshaft is no good. So our heads, while they've been ported, are still at the standard deck height. So, because otherwise you have issues with piston to valve clearance, and we haven't got valve reliefs or nothing like that. So if you want to take some off the heads, you're just going to have to valve relief the standard pistons, which is quite a common practice. So yeah, but we're not too stressed over it. I mean, it goes hard enough as it is. Touch the throttle and it's already on limiter at 7,200. So the way it is perfectly fine. So yeah, so cams in. We're going to have a bit of a clean up now. What are you looking for? In here. The cam retaining plate. I didn't take it anywhere. It's probably still in here, is it? Nope, that's the old one. But that one actually sits more prouder than the one that we had.
Yeah.
So I might clean that one up and use that one better. It is recommended by everybody that you don't reuse your cam retaining plate. However, we have, and we are going to again. So we were going to use the one that come off this engine. However, the one that we have already reused, the O-ring in it sits prouder than what the one that hasn't been reused. So we're going to reuse the reused one because it's better than the reused one. If that makes any sense to you at all. If it doesn't, then sorry. Yes, so let's get this done. We're going to clean up the timing chain set and get this on. We set the timing chain. We haven't dialed the cam in on this. It just gets set dot to dot. We could probably dial it in, but look, it's something that we actually haven't learnt to do ourselves yet. So the cam on the tonner on Manged Up is dialed in. We did get somebody to give us a hand to dial that in. We have not yet done that with the LS. So dot to dot it is, which works perfectly fine. So because that's just standard. And it goes hard enough. You don't have to worry about it. So yeah, all right. Let's get this timing chain set up and done and on. Alrighty. So as you can see here. Dot. It's a bit hard to see with the lighting. Dot, it lines up with dot. It doesn't matter about your links or nothing like that, as long as dot lines up with dot. Sometimes when you push this on, it'll push the cam out the back, so you just gotta, especially when you haven't got the retaining plate on the back or the rear main seal plate. So, you know, a couple of pairs of hands makes it easy sometimes. You just put your hand on the back side and push it forward, line it up, get it to sit on. Give this bottom cog and the roll master a tap in. We just used the big shifter over the top. Give it a little tappy tap tap. Of course it is a metal finished, etc, with a metal hammer, but whatever. Look, and then we have our ARP Rollmaster timing chain. So we got the Rollmaster timing chain set with the ARP bolts, retaining bolts, with a little splash of Loctite on them. That gets everything. Yep, I'll have to double check that. So to get them on, and then we can tap the bottom back in. I don't think that's all the way back in yet. And then we're all done here.
When you double chain, put your double row timing chain on these things, and you have to space out your oil pump. Make sure you put your plate the right way. If it's in the right spot, it locates the oil hole. if you put it the wrong way, it blocks off the whole hole.
Yeah, so that's an easy stuff up because it actually fits both ways.
Yeah.
So it's just slightly, as you can see, slightly off to one side. So if you're not really paying much attention or you're a newbie at it, it is common to actually stuff that up because it would be different if these didn't line up in a triangle, like, and you couldn't put it the wrong way around, but because you can actually get that the wrong way around, you could end up in all kinds of oil pressure grief with that one. So it's the last thing you want to do. Cool. Well, we have come to the end of today. So we're pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that. Pistons are all in, cranks in. Everything looks pretty good. Cam's in, timing chain's on. Sump has been put back together.
Just got to do our oil pump.
Yep. So we just got to sort out an oil pump, which we're still using a standard oil pump at the moment.
We're thinking about getting a big one.
Yeah.
6-litre one or something.
Been told that upgrading to a Mellings is not necessary for an LS. So you're better off, like, especially when you're NA still and, you know, not pulling stupid RPM. I mean, we're pulling some serious RPM, but it's not stupid. You know, we're not trying to push 8,000 RPM, which some guys are. But the actual better value for money upgrade is to bolt on an L98 6-litre oil pump, which has got like an extra 15% flow. So that's probably an upgrade we're going to do maybe later, because we haven't got the money at the moment to be able to splash at another oil pump. And we need to put the car back together now. So it needs to be back together this week, because I go away for a week's work. We come back and we've got 2 weeks till our next event. So I'd like to be coming back and fine-tuning the car and having 2 weeks to sort out fuel and tyres and maybe a test run rather than trying to build an engine. So yeah, we want to try and organise where we can get it to be able to bed some stuff in, so being new engine. Alrighty, well, we've done today. You guys will see it in a few seconds, but we're going to come back probably not tomorrow. We're going to do a trip to Geraldton as a shopping trip. And then, so you'll see us on Thursday. Thursday, our day, in a minute. And we'll get this thing finished up and back in the car. Okay, as you can see, windage tray and pickups on, dogs in the room. This is the little 2-bolt adapter that comes as an eBay special. It's got a little step on it so that it picks up the other side bolt. It slides on.
Does it?
It's gonna need probably a little bit of persuasion. So we'll go and get that tickled up so that it can go in, and we'll get her on. Okay, pickup and everything's on. This actually did go on. I just needed to give it a bit of a shove, but it went on. So, but the bolts that they give you with it are not the correct size. They might be for maybe a 6-litre pump or something, maybe. I've never played with a 6-litre pump, but someone will tell me whether that's true or not. But we just dove through the box of parts and found another one of the pickup bolts. So that's on nicely. Got that tension down here before we went and did this one, because otherwise if you tighten that down it can make this sit on a bit of a cockeyed angle, so get that done right. Okay, oil pumps on, pickups on, adapters on, and the windage tray's on, so it's time for us to get a timing cover and sump on, and maybe some colour. Let's do this. Okay, sumps on, timing cover's on, rear main plate's on, the valley plate's on. Time to put our first load of colour on. So I've got some masking tape, and I'm going to mask up all the deck surfaces and anything that I don't want to get paint on, or pressure gauge and sensors and bits and pieces, and put a thin layer of primer down, and we'll let that dry while we have some lunch, and then we'll come and put some of the new colour down. Alrighty. Are you hard done by doing 25 foot-pounds?
Yeah.
Okie dokie, that's the torque sequence done on the heads. So heads are now officially on. So we've got a set of ARP head bolts, not studs, they're bolts. The LS1s have the two outside ones on the heads are slightly shorter than the other ones. And then you've got, so they're three different lengths. So you've got two intermediate M11s, and I can't remember what these ones are, M8s I think they were. Was written on the thing. But so the torque sequence for these was 25 foot-pounds, 50 foot-pounds, then 80 foot-pounds. And once you've done all of these in a sort of spiral, clockwise, anti-clockwise, whatever, as long as you do them from the middle out. And then once you've torqued these ones to spec, you come up and you do these top ones here to 25 foot-pounds. So don't do them until last. Okay, cool. And we're all down. Dad put I had to go get the kids from school. Dad put the lifters in, because LS1s need to have lifters put in before the heads. So lifters and lifter buckets are in. Now it's push rods and rockers are there and have got a trunnion upgrade in them. So they come out of the last motor. Nothing wrong with those. So we get them put on. And then once we're there, we can put rocker covers on. We've got a complete short motor. Long motor. Long motor. So it's ready to drop in, which is where we'll end this video. So we'll keep going until we've got all the rockers on, and then we'll end this video. And then the next video that you guys will see will be us dropping the motor in and getting the car up and running. So, alrighty, let's get these rockers on and rocker covers on that are actually now blue, because I attacked them with a rattle can. It's pretty dodgy, but it's on there. It's blue. Methanol doesn't like doesn't like much paint anyway, so it is good enough. All right, let's get this done.